Is this, secret sauce? Are we sure we want to give it to people? Because this is the same tool everyone at Anthropic uses every day.
Hey, I'm Alex. I lead Claude Relations here at Anthropic.
And I'm Boris. I'm a member of technical staff and creator of Claude Code.
Today, we're going to be talking about Claude Code. Boris, to start, what is Claude Code and how did it come about?
Yeah, Claude Code, it's a way to do agentic coding in the terminal. So you don't have to adopt new tools. You don't have to use new IDEs. You don't have to use like a particular website or anything. It's just agentic coding, and it works wherever you work. And I think that actually came out of the way Anthropic engineers and researchers use tools to get the job done. Because people have all sorts of different stacks. It's super weird. Like there isn't like one normal stack everyone uses. There's people that use the Z IDE, and there's people that use VS Code, and then there's people that are like, you're never going to take my Vim from me, for my cold dead hands. And we wanted to build something that works for everyone. And that's how we kind of ended up in the terminal.
I see. So the terminal is almost like the most universal of all the interfaces in that it's flexible and it's kind of incorporated into everybody's workflow already.
Exactly. And it also just happens to be the simplest. And because it's so simple, we get to iterate really fast. That's kind of in hindsight, it turned out to be a good thing, but definitely wasn't the intent from the start.
Interesting. So if I'm a new developer and I want to be using Claude Code, what does that look like to actually get this product working?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So you just download it from NPM. It's npm install-g add anthropic-ai/Claude-code. So it's a little bit of an incantation. So you download it, you just need Node.js on your system, and a lot of people have that. And that's it. You open it up and it'll walk you through everything else.
Wow. So you just type Claude into the terminal, hit enter, and then that's it. And it just like Claude will guide you through the rest of the process, and then you can just start talking to it and it'll start coding.
Exactly. Yeah, you install it and then you run Claude. One of the kind of the cool things is Claude works in any terminal, like you said. So if you use like iTerm2 or Apple Terminal or whatever terminal you use, even like in a SSH session or TMAC session, it'll work. One of actually the top ways that people use Claude Code is within IDE terminals. So one thing you can do is run Claude within, for example, VS Code terminal, and it'll become more powerful. So, instead of seeing file edits in the terminal, you're going to see them nice and big and beautiful in the IDE itself.
Okay, interesting.
And we kind of use more signals from the IDE also to make Claude more intelligent. But the experience is the same. You just run Claude in the terminal.
Okay, so there's a lot there that I want to get to in a second. But before we get to that, so we released Claude Code in February.
Yeah.
So it's been about a little over 3 months. What's it been like? What's the reaction been from the community?
Yeah, just insane. Yeah. Like, it's so unexpected. But before we released it, we weren't sure if we want to release it. It was this tool that internally it makes our engineers and researchers so productive. And we were having this debate. We're like, is this, secret sauce? Are we sure we want to give it to people? Because this is the same tool everyone at Anthropic uses every day. And yeah, I think it turned out to be kind of the right decision because it makes people more productive and people like it.
What was the moment that you knew we had to ship it?
So it started kind of in a small group, and it was just a few people in our core team using it. And then at some point we gave it to all Anthropic employees, and there was this DAU chart. So like the daily actives, just looking at employees, and it was vertical for like 3 days straight.
Wow.
And we were like, all right, this is crazy. This is a hit. And then at some point we gave it to a few people externally just to see, are we crazy? Is this useful? Yeah. And all the feedback was just super positive. And I think it was pretty obvious.
Okay, so it really took fire within Anthropic first. And then all the engineers, all the researchers were using it themselves. And that made it pretty obvious for us that we should put it out into the world as well.
Yeah. And that's a big way that we develop this thing. Claude Code is written using Claude Code. That's almost all the code in Claude Code has been written and rewritten using Claude Code. And yeah, we're very big believers in dogfooding. It's so important because when you use a product that has obviously been dogfooded, you can feel it. And like in the products I use every day, I can feel like this is something that the team uses all the time and this is not. And yeah, we just wanted this to be one of those products that when you pick it up and try it, it's obvious a lot of love went into it. And it's something that we use ourselves.
Who do you think is the ideal Claude Code customer right now? Like who is using Claude Code? What type of person, what type of developer?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is Claude Code is pretty expensive. So, if you're coding on the weekends, you can try it for a little bit. So, you get an API key and put in $5 and you can just try it. But if you want to use it for more serious work, it'll cost you, $50, $100, $200 a month, something like this. There's kind of a big range. It depends what you're using it for, but generally expect maybe like $50 a month. There's a lot of enterprises that are using it. So, if you're in a big company, it tends to be a really good fit. It's amazing at big code bases. There's no indexing step. There's no extra stuff to set up. You just run it, and it works out of the box for pretty much every big code base in any language.
What's this integration with Claude Max? How does that work?
So one thing that we found is when people were using API keys to pay for this, they were a little worried about their usage.
Yeah.
And they didn't use it as much as they wanted. And so we shipped Claude Code as part of Claude Max. So you pay for the Max subscription. That's it's like $100 a month or $200 a month. You get to pick the price point, and there's different usage limits. And you get pretty much as much Claude Code as you want. And practically, you're not going to hit any rate limits. Very few people do. It's unlimited Claude Code.
Wow. So unified between your Claude.ai and then your Claude Code accounts is just like this one subscription package.
Exactly.
Okay. So if I'm a developer and I'm using Claude Code and I have my code base that I'm working on my computer, I get into my terminal, I type Claude, I hit enter. What happens next?
Yeah, Claude gets to work.
Okay.
So it's going to use tools. It's going to go out and do its thing. It's going to take many steps.
Okay.
So if you've only used, like coding assistants in IDEs before, and you're used to an experience where what the assistant does is it, completes the line or completes a few lines or something, it's not this at all. It's super duper agentic. So Claude will understand your query, and it's going to use all the tools at its disposal. So that's Bash, file editing, and so on, to explore the code base, read files, get the context it needs, and then edit files, make any changes that you want. Wow.
So this is maybe like a new form factor of coding compared to like how we've been doing it for the past 20 or 30 years or so?
Yeah, for me, like my journey for coding goes way back. I've been coding for a while, but my grandpa was actually one of the first computer programmers in the Soviet Union back in the 1940s or something.
Wow.
And he programmed using punch cards because programming with software wasn't a thing yet. And what he would do is he would take these big punch cards, and in the US there was this IBM thing that was sort of the IDE of the time, and you would use that to program these paper punch cards, and that's how he programmed. And he would bring these home every night, and my mom would tell me stories growing up about how she would draw over these with crayons, and for her that was part of her experience growing up. And since then, programming has evolved. So it was punch cards, and then we had kind of assembly, and then we had these first high-level languages. So COBOL and Fortran, and then we got in the 80s into Java and these typed languages and Haskell, and that was really exciting. And then in the 90s, we got into JavaScript and Python. So, these are interpreted languages that still give you a lot of safety. And I kind of think about the programming language and the experience of using the programming language as evolving in lockstep. Because around the time that Java started appearing, you saw, for example, the Eclipse IDE. And it had the first type of head features. You could type a character and then you get a drop down. And the idea is do you mean this or this and this? And it was just incredible because as a human, you didn't have to read the code anymore. And so I see this as the evolution. So this is the languages have sort of, I think, leveled out. Kind of all the modern languages belong to kind of similar families. There's a few big families of languages, and they're pretty similar if you glance. But the experience is now really evolving. Where now you don't have to deal with punch cards or assembly or even code. You deal with prompts, and the model figures out the coding part. And this is just hugely exciting to me as a programmer.
Yeah, I love that. We've gone from punch cards to prompts, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple questions for you on that front later. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit on the model front. So up until just recently, Claude Code was powered mainly by Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So now with the Claude 4 models powering Claude Code under the hood, what has this unlocked and where do you think we're headed?
Yeah, maybe a couple months or so before the models came out, we started trying them out internally. And I just remember my jaw dropping at how much more capable it feels. So I think there's all these new use cases that are unlocked. When you're using Claude Code synchronously in a terminal, I think one of the big changes is Claude is just much better at following your instructions. And so you tell it to do something either in a prompt or in Claude.md, and it'll tend to just do that and stick to it. And this is a big change because 3.7 was kind of a beast. It's an amazing coding model, but man, it's hard to steer.
Yeah.
Like you try to write test and it would just like mock all your tests and you're like, no, that's not what I mean. And usually you say that once or twice and it figures it out. But it was just so powerful that it was worth it. And I feel like now with this new generation of 4 models, you don't have to do that anymore. They typically do what you want the first shot. And Opus it feels like this next level above Sonnet where not only does it understand my intent really well, but also it's able to one-shot a lot of things that previous models just couldn't. So, for example, I haven't written a unit test in months.
Wow.
Because Opus just writes my tests. And almost every time it'll one-shot it perfectly the first time. And this is pretty useful in a terminal. It makes it so it can be a little bit more hands-off. But I think one of the coolest use cases is running it in GitHub Actions and other environments where you can give a task and then the model will just go off and do its own thing. And when it comes back with the right result the first time, that feels amazing.
So with GitHub Actions now, we can, within GitHub, at Claude, and then have it go off and work on the task in the background and then bring it back with a result in a new PR.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you open up Claude in the terminal like normal, just run Claude, and then you run /install GitHub action, and that'll walk you through this kind of install step. There's a few steps. It's all automatic. You just have to click a button or two, and it'll install the Claude app in your GitHub repo. And yeah, the experience is pretty cool. So in any issue, you can @mention Claude, just @Claude. I use it in PRs every day. A coworker will put up a pull request, and instead of asking them, hey, can you fix this thing? I'll just say, hey, @Claude, fix this thing. And it'll fix it. And instead of asking, can you write tests? And I always feel kind of guilty when I have to do that.
Yeah.
I'll just say, hey, @Claude, write tests. And it's just not a thing anymore.
I mean, that feels incredible to me. Like that is like an entirely new aspect of programming right there, where we can like basically pull in your always on demand programmer to go fix these issues for you, not even on your computer, but operating in background.
Yeah. And I think it's the beginning of interacting with a model like you would with a fellow programmer. So instead of @mentioning a coworker, I would @mention Claude.
How does this change software engineering when we move into that model? We're managing all these Claude codes in the background.
I think there's a bit of a mental shift that has to happen where some people really love controlling the code. And, like if you're used to handwriting code, I think now the industry is shifting to a place where you're orchestrating agents that write your code. And it's more about reviewing code than handwriting code. And yeah, I think people have to kind of deal with this transition. And I think as a programmer, it's incredibly exciting because you can do so much more, so much faster.
Right.
And there's still some stuff where I'll have to dip down and kind of handwrite code, but now I kind of dread it because Claude is just so good at it.
Interesting.
And I think increasingly as models get more capable, these windows where you have to handwrite code either because it's a complex data model or it's just something really sophisticated, like the interaction between a bunch of system components or something that's hard to type out in a prompt. I think this will keep receding and more programming will be about orchestrating agents.
So I want to dive into that a little bit more on your type of workflow. So how are you currently using the combination of all these things from like the IDE integration to just Claude Code as it is in the terminal to these background actions in GitHub?
Yeah, I think there's 2 kinds of work that I do. Some things are really easy. So for example, writing some tests or making a little bug fix or something. And usually I'll ask Claude to do it in GitHub issues. Or the other thing I'll do is I have a couple Claudes running in parallel usually. I have a couple checkouts of our code base. And so in one of these terminal tabs, I'll ask Claude to do something. I'll hit Shift-Enter to enter into auto-accept mode. And then I'll come back in a few minutes and I'll get a terminal notification when Claude is done.
Oh, wow.
There's a second kind of work where you have to be a little bit more involved. And I think this is still the majority of engineering. Like most engineering, you can't one-shot. It's still hard. And so what I'll do is I'll run Claude in my IDE terminal and I'll ask it to do something. And at some point it'll get stuck or the code won't be perfect or something. And so I'll go in and edit in my IDE to get that last mile of edits. And
I see. So there's this spectrum almost of like difficulty of task compared to where you're interacting with Claude.
Yeah. There's a learning period when you first start using this kind of tool. I think something people do sometimes is try to use it for too much, and you give it something too hard and it gets choked up and you're not happy with the result. And this is a learning that everyone has to go through to kind of get internally calibrated on what can Claude do, what can it one-shot, what can it two-shot, and what's that interaction like. And unfortunately, it changes with every model. So you can't just run it once. It's every time there's a new release, the capability grows, and Claude's able to do more stuff correctly the first time. And so you can ask it for a little bit more every time.
Right. I've noticed that just generally, even outside of code, where these models are changing so fast and improving so fast that if you were to have tried a model 6 months ago and kind of wrote it off for a task, it's not correct to still assume that frame in the present day. Like you almost have to reset your intuitions every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm curious for other maybe tips or tricks that you're seeing from usage from devs or from people within Anthropic. What are some cool things that folks are doing with Claude Code?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing that I've seen power users start to do in and out of Anthropic is ask Claude to make a plan before it starts to code. And something people will do sometimes when they first start using Claude Code is they'll be like, hey, write this really big, complicated feature, and then they get frustrated when it doesn't do it the way that they imagined in their mind. And a really good way to kind of align what you want to do with what Claude wants to do is ask it to make a plan and run it by you first. And I'll explicitly say sometimes, here's the problem I want to solve. Before you code, brainstorm some ideas and make me a list of ideas for how to approach it, and don't write any code yet. And Claude will, it'll give me option 1, option 2, option 3, and I might be like, okay, option 1 and 3 sound good, let's combine it. Now you can start coding. And it's generally pretty good at listening. Another thing to kind of take this to the next level is ask Claude to use extended thinking. And this works best if Claude has some context already. It doesn't work very well if Claude doesn't have any context yet and it just thinks. And it's sort of like a human, right? Like you can think as long as you want, but until you go in and read the code, you won't actually know what it is you're doing.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Claude. Just ask it to read files first, then pause. And then I'll ask it to think and brainstorm some ideas, and then I'll ask it to code.
Interesting. So that sort of interleaved approach where it's able to call out to a tool, think about the results, think about what it needs to do next, and then call another tool and continue that back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we actually see this on internal benchmarks too. When we do internal benchmarks of different kind of evals, generally if you get context first and then think and then use tools to edit and use bash and so on, the results are a lot better. And this is what it feels like too as a user.
Yeah. Tell me about Claude.md files. These seem really powerful.
Yeah, Claude.md, we use it for everything. It's Claude's memory, it's instructions to Claude that you want to share across your team, it's instructions that you want to share across all your projects. So yeah, it's very powerful. There's a lot of different kinds of Claude.mds. And so the simplest kind is a file called Claude.md, and you put it in the root of your repository.
Just a markdown file.
Just a markdown file. Yeah, Claude in all caps, MD lowercase. And Claude will automatically read it when you start Claude in that folder. So it'll be automatically read into context. Any kind of instructions you want Claude to do every time. So bash commands that you want it to run frequently, or files that it should really know about when making changes or big architectural decisions, anything like that. MCP servers, just put it in the Claude.md. There's a second kind of Claude.md, and this one you check in. And so you want to share it with your team. You want to write it once and then share it with everyone across your team so people don't have to write it themselves.
Interesting.
The second kind of Claude.md is just for you. And that's called Claude.local.md. And this one, it also goes in the same place, and it's just for you. You don't share it with your team. You can ignore it, so you don't check it in. The third one is a global Claude.md, and that goes in your .claude folder in your home directory. Most people actually don't use this one, but if you want, you can put any kind of instructions you want to share across Claudes there. And then the final one is you can put Claude.mds in any nested file in any directory in your codebase.
Oh, wow.
And Claude will pull it in automatically when it thinks it's relevant, just to get instructions about working with that part of the codebase.
So these are specific instructions or even your preferences for just like coding style or anything like that about how Claude should interact, what it should know about you, how you like to work. It could be anything. Exactly.
And sometimes when I see Claude do something really good or really bad during a conversation, what I'll do is I'll hit the pound sign, and this goes into memory mode. And I'll tell Claude, hey, you should memorize this. And it could be an instruction, for example, whenever I make code changes, always run the linter.
Yeah.
And I'll tell it that, and it'll incorporate it into the right memory file.
Interesting. I need to do more of that, I think. What's next for Claude Code?
Yeah, I think there's two directions we're thinking about. So one is how to make Claude work even better with all your tools. And it started with working with every terminal. Now it can work with many IDEs, and it can also work with a lot of CI systems. And we've been thinking about what's next there. Just to make sure it works with all the tools you use, Claude should know how to use them, and it should work with the tools natively. The second thing is how to get Claude better at these sort of easy tasks that you may not want to open a terminal for. So what if I could, tag Claude in a chat app or something like this and have it fix an issue for me? The same way that I can do on GitHub. And what does this mean? What feels good to use? So we've been trying a bunch of options here. We want to make sure that it feels really good before we give it to users.
That's exciting. Well, I'd love to see Claude Code everywhere. So looking forward to it. And thank you, Boris, for the conversation.
Yeah, thank you.